My dear friends, come closer with your heart for a moment, because what I'm about to say is not loud, but it is very deep. If you are in your later years, and you have noticed that people are slowly disappearing from your life, conversations becoming fewer, invitations becoming rare, relationships becoming distant, do not think this is accidental. Do not think this is rejection. This is divine separation. There comes a season in life when God lovingly removes noise so you can finally hear his voice clearly. You call it loneliness. God calls it preparation. You call it loss of people. God calls it protection of your peace. You see, when you were younger, your life was full of movement, full of responsibilities, full of people needing you, calling you, depending on you. But now the pace has changed. And with that change, God begins to filter who is allowed to stay in your life. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into this season. Some people were assignments, some were lessons, some were temporary companions for a previous chapter. But they cannot go where God is taking you now. And that is why the distance happened. That is why the calls stopped. That is why the circle became smaller. Not because you are forgotten, but because you are being refined. God separates you from certain people in old age because distractions must decrease when purpose becomes deeper. You don't need many voices around you now. You need clarity. You don't need drama now. You need peace. You don't need to prove yourself now. You need to preserve yourself. Some relationships were draining your spirit without you realizing it. Some people only came when they needed something. Some only brought stress, arguments, and emotional weight. And for years you tolerated it. But in this season, God says, enough. Enough carrying what I never asked you to carry. Enough explaining yourself to people who never understood you. Enough sacrificing your peace to keep others comfortable. So he gently removes them, not in anger but in mercy. You may have cried when certain people walked away. You may have wondered what you did wrong. But what if you did nothing wrong? What if God himself stepped in and said, they cannot go further with you? Because where God is taking you now requires a lighter heart, a quieter mind, a calmer soul. After a certain age, God is less interested in expanding your circle and more interested in deepening your spirit. He separates you from people so you can be reunited with him. So you can pray without interruption. So you can think without noise. So you can rest without pressure. So you can finally breathe. This separation is not punishment. It is spiritual repositioning. You are being moved from a crowded place to a sacred place. A place where your relationship with God becomes more personal than ever before. You start talking to God like a friend. You start feeling his presence in simple moments. You start understanding things without needing explanations, because when people step back, God steps closer. You begin to notice that you don't miss the drama, you don't miss the noise, you don't miss the stress. You begin to enjoy the quiet. That quiet is healing parts of you that were tired for years. God separates you in old age because this is the season of healing, reflection, and spiritual intimacy. He removes those who disturbed your peace, so he can restore your soul. And slowly you realize you are not lonely, you are lighter, you are not abandoned, you are protected. You are not losing people, you are gaining clarity. This is the season where God teaches you that fewer people can mean more peace, that a smaller circle can mean a stronger faith, that less talking can mean deeper understanding. You begin to value presence over popularity, peace over people-pleasing, silence over stress, and this is where real spiritual maturity blossoms. The people who left were never meant to understand this version of you. They knew the busy you, the responsible you, the sacrificing you, but now God is revealing the peaceful you, the prayerful you, the wiser you, and not everyone is allowed to see that. So if your life feels quieter now, do not resist it. Embrace it, because God is doing his deepest work in this quiet season. He is preparing you for the most meaningful phase of your life, a phase where your words carry weight, where your prayers carry authority, where your presence carries calm. You are becoming a person who doesn't need many people because you have learned that God is enough. And that lesson only comes after separation. So don't run after those who left. Don't beg for connections that faded. Trust the separation. Because God removes people when He wants to remove burdens you got used to carrying. And in this lighter life, you will finally discover a peace you never had before. A peace that stays, a peace that heals. A peace that comes from knowing God separated you from them to bring you closer to Him.